Welcome to the BA Coaches Show. I am the BA Coach, Coach Ben Audi, dropping another episode. We got a bonus episode today, ladies and gentlemen. This is directly from the fans. This is going to be episode 8. I have been requested to do an episode during the middle of the week, so this is going to be dropping on Wednesday. Still going to do our regular scheduled episode on Sunday. This episode, I'll be real, I didn't have a ton of time to prepare for it. Just wasn't expecting to do 2 episodes this week, but I'm all for it. We're going to see kind of how this goes. Kind of exciting news. I have a lot of things planned. This is going to be a great football season for me. I am up to something. I can't say what it is, but this is going to be a great football season for me in my own personal life and just what I'm going to be doing with you guys talking Husker sports. This is going to be a really good time for me. Of this episode, we're going to do a Q&A segment. We're going to talk about the NIL thing that happened this week. But yeah, this is an episode for the fans. Something I'd really like to do with this podcast is kind of want to do some live streams. I don't know what exactly that's going to look like yet. I would like, during the football season, I will be reacting to every game I am not attending right here along with you guys. I will be live stream reacting to all of that. But I do want to do, I don't know if it's a live stream where I just need to hop on here and talk with you guys, or if I need to just, watch a game like the UFL championships on Sunday evening. Maybe I pop on and do that after our regular episode comes out. You guys let me know what you want to see. Here's the thing. And if you're listening to this, please comment down below. Guys, I want to talk Husker sports with you guys. I want to give you guys the show that you guys want to see. Anyone that has reached out to me with criticism, ideas, positivity, I get back to all of you. At the end of the day, I'm just a Husker fan just like all you guys, and I live for this stuff, man. I really do. So reach out to me. Comment below. Comment below what you guys want to see from me. This episode is 100% for you guys. This is all Q&A or all topics you guys suggested. So we're going to be back to our regular scheduled programming on Sunday. And yeah, let's hop into it and go Big Red. Come on down to lovely Paola, Kansas on July 3rd to enjoy a full evening full of fun at Lake Myola. Free will donations accepted at the gate. Fireworks show begins at dusk. Brought to you by the great Paola Chamber of Commerce. So one of the big Husker news going on Twitter right now is Troy Dannen's comments on the whole NIL thing, 1890 thing. I think this quote's actually from April. There's a tweet that came out from Huskers Game Day over on Twitter. Go follow them. They're a great page to go follow for Husker news all the time. But I'm literally going to read this tweet verbatim, maybe give a little bit of my thoughts as I go, and then we're just going to talk about it. So I'm just going to read this word for word so I don't screw it up. At Huskers Game Day. Troy Dannen gets candid on NIL's future and Nebraska's current NIL status at the 1890 Initiative event. This is from Troy Dannen. Let me tell you something about NIL. It's not going to last forever. Here's what I think is going to happen, and I'm pretty sure I'm right. There's going to be an antitrust settlement this year in the courts. Part of that antitrust settlement, 1890, will go away. What's going to be replacing that is the athletic department revenue share. So that alone, I think, is kind of interesting. Saying that the NIL initiatives will go away. I don't know. I think maybe. I just don't see how. Because even if the revenue share does go to, or comes from the athletic department, I'm still confused on why collectives won't be a thing. I'll have to look farther into that, because NIL, all that is a name, image, and likeness. So I could go pay a player right now to rock my merch or whatever. You know what I mean? So I don't know how all that works. I'm not going to act like I do. Continue on with Troy Dannen. He says, in the budget with the AD right now, we have a $20 million placeholder to share money with our athletes. We have that in our budget right now. There are 3 schools I think that have that in their budget: Georgia, Texas, and us. It's actually kind of good. So it sounds like they already have that money set aside for when that does come through. We already got $20 million to share out with our athletes. Personally, I really like the sound of that. He goes on to say, we have great advantages here. We don't have debt. Good. We have great reserves. We have a fan base, and our facilities are good. I won't even say our facilities are good. Our facilities are great. I've been reading things from all over the country of like people coming to visit in. They're saying Nebraska's new athletic facilities are like top notch in the country. But I agree with everything you just said. Um, so this is kind of where it gets to the part where I got people fired up. He said, let's talk about the next 2 years. NIL isn't coming in house, it's going to be replaced by something else. At Washington last year, we had an NIL football budget of 10 million and went to the national championship game. Oregon's was 23 million, Ohio State's was 23 million. Ours here at Nebraska is not even 10 million. In the next couple of years, we'll be fight in the next couple of years, we'll be fighting an even fight. But right now, we're not fighting an even fight. If you ask the coaches, what do you need for me to be most successful is to support the initiative to get athletes to Lincoln. And that is from April 26th. Okay, that the last little comment there is what's kind of got people fired up on we're not even at 10 million. I think there's a few reasons for that. Now, I'll just be real. My first initial thoughts were I'm kind of surprised we're not above the 10 million. But a lot of it, I say, hey, if there's a lot of complaining going on, especially some of you rich people, you know how to fix this problem? You go donate and get that number up. So a lot of the argument I saw Steve Sipple had a good thing about like, is the team worth that money? Is the team worth $23 million? And I'd say probably not. And I do think that is a good point, but I don't necessarily think this is an instance of the chicken or the egg. I feel like we're going to have Nebraska as a whole are going to have to spend the money to go get the team we want as opposed to waiting for the team to be worth it. I could be wrong on that. Hey, people like you, Warren Buffett, we got to start throwing out some money. What are we doing? Warren Buffett, you go down to 1890 with a blank check and say, here's what we need to do. But that's kind of just my thoughts. Again, I think it's been a whole lot of nothing. I'm really only touching on this because this is like big news within the Husker fan base, really. Like it's been taking things over. Personally, I don't even think it's that really big of a deal. Like I get it. Like, I don't know. We also got to think about this. Something I thought about when I was going through all this stuff was NIL collectives having to try and take money right in the middle of Trev Alberts trying to donate or raise money donations for the stadium project, right? I think with public donations, it was like 120 or 160 million. Imagine if we took that money and put it in the NIL collective. You know what I mean? So I think we had so many people donating to the Go Big project that we're not donating to the NIL initiative. Hey, I did my part. I threw my $25 in, got a free T-shirt out of it. But yeah, I would definitely. Hey, instead of complaining, you either need to donate money or it is what it is. I find the more interesting part of this conversation to be what he said earlier about the antitrust settlements and 1890 and the NIL collectives are going away. To me, that part's way more interesting than the other. Cause I just don't understand how any of that works. That's something that I'm gonna have to be real about. I'm gonna have to get rid of that thing in my brain. Like I just can't wrap my head around it. So yeah, we're gonna figure that out. Yeah, show off the new haircut a little bit. It's just hot in here. Yeah, those are just kind of my thoughts on the whole NIL situation. Yeah, I don't really have too many thoughts. I'm more surprised by the collectives going away. I do like that we're in a good position. So when when NCAA puts the changes into effect of it comes directly from the schools, I do think we're going to be in a very good position when that comes through. So I am happy about that. All right, moving on to the next thing. You guys are seeing me mega switch it up now. I got no hat, took off the glasses for a bit. Yeah, we're just chilling. It's recording this on Tuesday night, and hey, I'm just here having a good time. So I'm gonna go through some of the Husker Q&A questions I got for this week. And then we're gonna go our little debate topic of the day, and then we're gonna wrap this thing up. Might not be the longest episode, but hey, I got a request to do a random Wednesday episode, so we're kind of going into this. First question I got was about in-state recruiting. We've been killing it on the in-state recruiting. We've been getting a lot of guys to come to us. We almost have a clean sweep of all the top 8 to 10 guys the last couple of years. Who do I think are going to be the hit or miss from the in-state guys? Here's what I got to say. Carter Nelson is going to be a gigantic hit. Now, am I going to be a little biased on that because, I have family that's from Ainsworth and I'm a big fan of this kid for like 2 or 3 years now? Maybe. Okay, but so kind of like what I talked about with Grant Bricks on last episode, I have only heard amazing things about Carter Nelson. Amazing things about Carter. Everything I hear from people in the building, people that come and just watch things or hear things, and people, that go to Ainsworth and saw him, like he works really hard. He's going to be super athletic. I do think he's a dark horse to get on the field this year. I think he's going to get some playing time this year, whether at tight end or he could maybe play a little bit of a bigger body wide receiver type. I really do. I think he's going to be the biggest hit. For any misses, I'm not sure if we're really going to have any misses, and I hate saying misses. The only reason, here's the only thing I'm going to say, and this is not going to be the answer that I think anyone's expecting, but hear me out. Say Danny Kalen maybe just a miss, just because when do we see him playing? Do you get what I'm saying? Like, I'm not saying he's going to be a miss because of his talent or anything. I'm just saying when I really like him as having him as an option later on down the line as an older guy that's a backup quarterback. But like, I don't know because we're gonna have Dylan. Hopefully, Dylan stays for a while, right? And then with all the other mega talented quarterbacks we offer, when do we think Kalen gets on the field? That's my only thing. I'm not dissing on any of that. That's why I'm not saying he's a miss from that aspect. And I am so happy that he stayed loyal to us even through the Dayton Raiola. I got corrected on last episode. I'm gonna start saying it better. Even when Dayton Raiola committed to us, he stayed loyal to us. So I'm really happy for that. So that's what I'm saying. I'm not trying to diss on him on that. Well, the next questions I got was about the mass offers to 2026 classes, especially from Glenn Thomas and the Vanden Bosch twins. Or does that mean we're worried about Dayton Raiola? Or are we worried about Dayton Raiola? And I honestly don't think so. I don't think we're worried about that. I think we're honestly, because with the 2026s, I think we're just trying to stay ahead of the game. Because a lot of those 26s will start getting love like maybe this fall. I think we're just trying to stay ahead of the game. Because let's be real, first impressions matter heavily. I've been kind of halfway involved with some of my players, like recruiting process. Now, I haven't sent anyone like completely like D1 Power 5 level, but everything I always hear is a lot of those first impressions and people that are on you early. These players are loyal, a lot, not loyal to the fact, but that hold a lot of stock in the, teams that go out of their way early. And like when they're not getting very much love from other than maybe from, I think that first Power 5 school to be involved is a big idea. So I think that's part of what we're doing there. I think we feel good about Dayton Raiola, but we do have to think if he goes, he's down in Georgia. He goes and balls out this next 2 years. Let's just say he goes and dominates just like his brother did. And Dylan is killing it at Nebraska. Do we not think a whole bunch of other amazing teams are going to roll in? Do you get what I'm saying? Think Georgia, Alabama, Texas, USC, all those guys are going to want him. So I don't think we're not I think we're still in a good spot to get him, but I think there's going to be a lot of heavier competition, especially if he goes down in Buford, Georgia, and tears it up. And I do genuinely think this is my strong opinion here. Strong opinion of the day is that Matt Rule and Glenn Thomas are going to make sure that we're never in a position that we were last season. What do I mean by that? I know Glenn wasn't here, but I think he's going to make sure. Matt Rule is going to make sure we're never in a position where we have 3 or 4 average to bad quarterbacks on the roster, right? We need the opposite problem. I think I'd rather have 3 or 4 good quarterbacks that we're worried about the backups transferring out than having 3 or 4 guys that, let's be real, at best they were average. We had high hopes for Jeff Sims, but it didn't work out. A lot of turnovers. Don't want to go beat down that tree again. But yeah, I think we're just trying to strongly avoid that problem as hard as we can. And personally, I think that's a great move. Moving on to the next question I got is Ethan Nation leaving. What are my thoughts? Am I surprised? Yeah. I'm not really that concerned, and that might be kind of crappy to say, and I'm not trying to So I was thinking about like my concern level, my worry level, whatever you want to think about it for corner position or DB in general. But I'd say just sticking with corner, it's probably a 5 or a 6, right? Him leaving, it's probably about the same. Maybe move it up to like a 6.5, I guess. Like, I didn't see him starting at our corner position. Now, if we have some injuries there, he would have been a decent guy to throw in there. I think we'd worry more about him in the punt return game than anything. But I mean, I think we have a lot of good guys on our roster that can return punt, so I'm not worried about that. Um, so I don't think this is a huge swing. Maybe it does worry me on the depth concern, but I mean, we still got. Let me pull up the roster real quick. I mean, we still got Hartzog, we got Brents that can play, Tommy Hill that can play. I know Blyle Hill is probably hurt. Buford can still, like, we got guys, and those are mostly all guys that I'd probably put ahead of him. So that's why I'm not too concerned, but I'm just worried more on the depth perspective. Next question I got is the game I am excited for the most next season. All right. The cliche answer is UTEP because it's the first game of the year. You know, I'm just so excited for football season. I'll save this for maybe another episode on why I believe, but I think this is going to be a fantastic football season. I think this is going to be, as a fan, the best football season of my entire life. Just as a college football in general fan, not even necessarily just Nebraska. I think this is going to be the best season of my life so far, but we'll get into that. Maybe next episode we'll go into that. I don't know. But in reality, the game I am looking forward to the most is Colorado, not just because it's a rivalry game. Okay. Obviously, that's exciting. First night game. I think the student section is going to be insane. Um, I think the whole stadium, I think the whole atmosphere is going to be insane. I'm going to be up there for it. I think that game, the reason I'm excited for it is it'll be a good measuring stick for us. Okay. I'm not on the train that most Nebraska fans are. I don't think Colorado is going to be trash next year. Okay. I know they're bringing in so many transfers again. So I understand all the logic behind it. I just think they're bringing in too many talented guys to be trash. Now, do I think they're going to be amazing? Like ESPN's going to hype them up if they win a game? No. But I do think I mean, hey, they're our rival. They won 4 games last year. We won 5 games last year. We got to beat them. I say that's our big measuring stick. If we don't beat them, but we keep it close, I'm not going to be furious. You know what I mean? Like, I'll be very disappointed, but I'm not going to be one of those guys that's up here screaming and cussing. That's a game to me that I could see going either way. And I'm being 100% real. I know that a lot of Nebraska fans are completely opposite of me on that, but I'll be real. I expect and love to beat Colorado, but at the same time, I'm not going to be absolutely shocked and heartbroken if we don't. This isn't like the whole Georgia Southern situation. You know what I mean? Next question I got here. Jalyn Gramstad. What are my thoughts? Okay. So he was basically, long story short, for if you don't know, basically the NAIA Heisman winner, let's just call it. Came to our postgraduate camp and sounds like he balled out. I really, if you want my thoughts, I really hope we get him. I really, really hope we get him. Reading an interview he did, I believe he did it with Husker Online. He said since day one, since he was a high school kid, wanted to be a Nebraska Cornhusker and just didn't get that opportunity. If he wants to be with us and he's willing to walk on, by God, get him on our roster. We need a fourth quarterback. We need a fourth quarterback. Having a veteran quarterback would be great, right? And he's a guy that, hey, injuries happen. I'm good with him going in there. Hey, NAIA is not that bad of football, right? I think it's pretty equivalent with D2 football to me. That's just me. Now, granted, I live in an area where there's NAIA schools in my area, so I've been able to watch some of them and see some of the kids they recruit and all that around here. And I think there's some solid options, and he was the best player in NAIA football last year. So to me, I think he's a good option to have, especially as our backup quarterback. He wants to be a Cornhusker. Bring him into town, please. Last question I have here. This is one I really like a lot. Who are my favorite Nebraska Cornhusker players and coach, current and then all time? Current players, I say Nash Hutmacher. I really like him, like the way he plays, the tenacity he plays with. Isaac Gifford. I just think Isaac Gifford's a really good kid. Call him a kid. He's like my age, so maybe I shouldn't do that. You guys forget I'm pretty young. I actually have an autograph from Isaac Gifford as well. He's a really good kid, so I really like watching the two of them play, and they're just absolutely studs on our defense. And I love just hard nosed football. I know I'm an offensive football coach by trade, but I do enjoy hard nosed defensive football. Who's my favorite? So, favorite coach? Okay, obviously, you'd say Matt Rule. I'm going to take this a different way. I'm going to look at assistant coach. Who's my favorite assistant coach on our staff? I say Rob Dvorak. Now, am I biased because I've built a little bit of a rapport with him? Maybe, but I think he is a very knowledgeable coach. I love the way he coaches. He's very direct and to the point. He puts a really big emphasis, just like all of our defensive coaches do, but he gives a really big emphasis on getting turnovers, getting the football, and just secure tackling. I think he's a fantastic linebacker coach. Rob Dvorak has a great future in the coaching business. 100% book it now. That dude's going to be a defensive coordinator in the future, and I'll be very happy when that day comes. And when Tony White, let's be real. When Tony White leaves us, I'm perfectly comfortable with Rob Dvorak getting that bump up. That'd be great. All time favorite player. I'm gonna say it, Ndamukong Suh. I know not. I feel like he's kind of unpopular, but I'm also like among Nebraska fans, he's wildly popular, right? I love that guy. I'll be real. So one of my first memories of watching Nebraska football was him, right? Was watching him play, how dominant he was. His junior and senior seasons are literally my first memories of Nebraska football. Who are my favorite coaches all time? I'm not going to go on the rant again. Bo Pelini is probably my favorite Nebraska coach. Matt Rule's up there, but the only reason I can't say Matt Rule yet is because he's only been here for a year. So I'm not going to put him ahead of Bo. But if Matt Rule does what I think he can do here, Matt Rule will be, dude, guys, I'm wearing the shirt. In Rule we trust. Buy it from me. Message me. But in Rule we trust. I'm all in on that. I'm telling you, you'll never find a bigger Matt Rule fan than me. So those are kind of my things. Like I said, I'm not going to go on the rant again, but I do really like Bo Pelini, and I miss Bo Pelini. But we're not going to go into that today. But that's going to wrap it up for the Q&A segment. I'm going to put the tweets out, Instagram posts out, Facebook posts out. Please send me Q&A questions. I'm dying to answer your guys' questions. I want to have a segment on every single episode doing that. So, for sure, send them in. And for our last segment of the day, it's going to be our debate topic of the day. This is one I am kicking myself. I saw a tweet from a Husker account. I am in no way trying to disrespect. I searched for it for like 20 minutes today. I can't find the tweet. But it said, so I'm not trying to disrespect. I stole this question from somebody, but I can't figure out where it is. Send it to me and I will shout them out. When Nebraska finally gets back to being good in football, right? Should Nebraska fans act crazy, storm the field, be celebrating all over Twitter like, hey, we made the playoff, right? Or should we be acting like we've been there before? Okay, I understand the thinking of acting like we've been there before. I understand the thinking, especially for the older generation. I understand, we're a blue blood. We've won 5 national championships. We're one of the premier brands in college football. But also, I've literally never been there before. I've not got to witness greatness. I have not. The closest I've came, 2009, that Big 12 championship game, that's the closest I've ever got to come to witnessing. And I was 9 years old for that. Okay? Hey, let us have some fun. Let us have some fun, okay? When Nebraska gets back to being really good, let people like me be dancing on people's graves, celebrating like insanity. There's a whole generation, or even 2, maybe even 3, but a whole generation of Husker fans that have not got to witness the fun, got to witness the greatness, and I'm part of that. So that's just kind of my thinking. I'd love to hear some other topics of the day. I've realized that a lot of my debate topics of the day can be divided by age. I have one, the one that's coming out on Sunday. You will see that is going to be directly impacted by age. You're going to see it. But I think this one's also going to be, if you were around for the 90s, you're probably all for, acting like you've been there before. No big deal. This is the standard. right? You know what? I'll go on it. Husker Army podcast. I just found out about them a couple hours ago before I'm recording this podcast, and they were talking about how the expectations, national championships, all that. Hear me out. I'm not disrespecting you guys whatsoever. I like that. We're on the same page there. But I wasn't around to experience all that, so that can't be my expectations. Do you get what I'm saying? I'm 24 years old. I was born in the year 2000. I didn't get to witness any of those great years, so it's hard for me to say my expectations are competing for national championships. I understand where you guys definitely, hey, if you're listening to this, go check out their podcast. But I'm just saying that can't be my expectation because I wasn't there for that. So if we start getting to like Big Ten championship game, like getting into the new 12-team playoff, like, dude, I'm gonna be ecstatic. I'm gonna be out of my mind. So here, there's our little debate topic of the day. I'd love to hear from some of you guys what your guys' thoughts are. So yeah, that is going to be the end of today's episode. This is just a little bonus episode. I know this isn't our longest one. It's not maybe our best one, but wanted to give the people what they wanted. I only had a few days to prepare for this one, so that's why I'll be real. Maybe this isn't the best one, and maybe I do just need to stick to once a week until football season comes around. But hey, I do this for the people that are listening. You guys give me the outlet. So the reason I like to throw in my little thank yous at the end of the episode as opposed to the beginning is just because I know that people that are actually caring about what I say stick around to the end, not the ones that hate on me. Got to be real. I have found out very quickly that Nebraska Cornhusker football Twitter is a wild place. I was not aware of how wild that was until this week. I have always stuck to my high school football coaches circle over on my main account, and now ever since I made the BA Coaches Show account and started being active on there, wow. Also found out that a lot of the old Facebook groups can also get insane. A lot of old people that do not like me right now. But hey, it's all good. I figured out that not gonna be everybody's cup of tea, but the people that enjoy me, we're gonna do this, be along for the ride. I do strongly believe I provide a unique perspective as a high school football coach that is kind of tuned into this program and is coached at high levels of high school football. So I do think, and I think I would be a good guest. I'm working on, I have a few podcasts. I'm not going to announce where, but I'm going to be a guest on a few podcasts here in the next couple weeks, few months. I'm working. I got a few guests coming on here soon. Got a couple former players and other podcast hosts. We'll be on here soon. But that is going to wrap up today's episode of the BA Coaches Show. You guys know. Thank you all. And always go Big Red.